I'm heading into the Robotics Museum here in Bozeman, Montana, and it's appropriate that I would see a van like this. So I'm inside the Robotics Museum, and they have a lot of fantastic books you could buy, and things from the planets. Very cool.
I have a quick little intro tour to give you guys, and then I'll let you loose.
Look at this. It's a vintage-inspired mechanical keyboard. How cool is that?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
I'm ready for the
Okay,
tour.
I'm ready too. Let's do it.
Okay, so welcome. This is our introductory room. We call this room the benchmark of the information age, just to provide you kind of a quick highlight of the history of computing. We start our tour here with this. This is an original Babylonian tablet. It's real. It's over 4,000 years old. It's one of the first instances we see of written language and data keeping. Underneath this glass dome, we have a replica of the Antikythera mechanism. It is known as the world's oldest computing device, estimated to have come around 80 BC for navigational purposes at the time. They were able to recreate this utilizing gears found off of a wreckage. On the other side here, we have an original medieval Bible leaf from 1240 Oxford, England. This was all written before the invention of eyeglasses or paper, so it was all written on vellum or calfskin at the time. So as you can imagine, for someone to copy something like the entire Bible would take them well over a year, not to mention a small herd of animals to even get that much hide. Luckily, when the Gutenberg printing press came along, that really expedited the whole process. This is a reproduction of the press, but we do have some authentic printings from the era. We have some encyclopedia pages and a copy of Newton's Principia Mathematica. Our modern age of electricity started in the 19th century with Alexander Volta here and his invention, the Volta battery, really the first practical electronic battery to be invented and utilized, and really paved the way for the rest of the era to come. In 1937, we get the first binary computer called the Model K, built by Dr. George R. Stibitz. Not necessarily a computer as we think of it today. It was more like a simple binary adding device. In 1946, you get the ENIAC. This was your first large-scale programmable general-purpose computer. It was the size of this entire building. It was designed by the University of Pennsylvania to calculate missile trajectory. The ENIAC utilizes vacuum tubes up here to operate and store data because there wasn't really a distinction for a computer at the time between the two. And something of this size would have needed about 18,000 vacuum tubes to fully function.
That's amazing.
And then in about 20 years, you have a computer that can fit on your desk. In 1965, you get the PDP-8. This was your first successful commercially available desktop. It weighs 250 pounds. At the time that it came out, it would have cost you about $18,000, which is over $140,000 today. And for that, it gave you a whopping 4K of memory. Another really fun comparison we have on the wall here is the Selectron. It's your earlier form of memory storage. Not many were made because it wasn't something that was mass-produced at the time. But let's compare that to something that you can pick up at any store, like a 256 gigabyte flash drive. Essentially, if you wanted something like that in 1953, you would have needed 8 billion Selectrons, not to mention 17 New York cities to power all that. So it's really crazy how far we've come just in terms of efficiency over the last few decades. And then when we transition over here, we get to the era of personal computers. Really thanks to the microprocessor in 1971, the Intel 4004. This is an original wafer from the very first batch ever created, and it was donated to our museum by one of the lead scientists, Dr. Federico Fugine. And a lot of these computers were built by hobbyists and fellow enthusiasts, one of which being Henry Roberts, an electrical engineer that designed the Altair 8800, your first successful personal model. Finally, you have a computer that most people could go out and buy and bring home, but you still have to put it together yourself. It came with a basic software at the time that was written by students Bill Gates and Paul Allen. A fun fact I like to point out about this one is that on this little sheet of paper next to it, that was the instruction on how to install the software. If you called the number on it at the time, Bill Gates was essentially your tech support. And then
That's original.
yes. And then just within a year of that, we get the Apple I computer. This is an original Apple I. It was signed and donated to our museum by Steve Wozniak himself. And then for the rest of our museum, we have an excellent exhibit on remote sensors, the Apollo 11 mission, quantum computing, the Enigma machine, and robotics. If you have any questions, just let me know. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy your time here.
That was fantastic, by the way.
Thank you.
Original Omega Speedward Master Watch worn on the moon. Wow. I interviewed a guy that's inventing or is working on an atomic-sized computer. So we're getting smaller. Gonna have to tell her that on the way out. Apollo guidance computer. These are actual things from the astronauts. This is amazing. This is just amazing. First man on the moon, Apollo 11. Armstrong. I met Buzz Aldrin. Talked to him about aliens. I remember these phones. This one here particularly. Called bricks. I call them bricks. Space game. Wow, look at this. Look at that. 1 million transistors in this. 10-foot display. 1 million transistors. And an iPhone has over 100 billion of them. That's remarkable.
Very convincing letter.
Remember that name? Simon. See, if you save everything and you don't throw it away, it becomes antiques, worth a lot of money. So don't throw your stuff away, even posters. An Apple I is worth a bloody fortune. There it is, 1984, Apple Macintosh. Bringing back memories, everybody. Steve Wozniak. Well, when you're in Bozeman, Montana, I highly suggest you come here. See it for yourself. There's a lift off of 11. It's the original clock. computer printout. Wow.
I still have one of those.
Oh my goodness, that's the mainframe. This is smaller than my phone right now.
He got one. Got so excited about it.
32 kilobytes. 1,000 pounds.
We could talk to each other using.
Wow.
Like, I don't remember now how, but he would, like there was a certain code we could send for hello or goodbye or something.
Is this the newest?
What's going on with this countdown here? I'm curious.
Maybe this one.
Oh, why do...
Oh, this is, did you read this thing? Talking about this box.
John Glenn.
It has 1 million transistors in it, and an iPhone 5 has 100 billion.
Okay, let's see what happens in 25 seconds. 24, 23, 22, 21, 20.
End to end, those cases would be over 1,800
Great photograph.
the distance
Oh,
from
what happened?
Boston to New York City. So these stretching from here to New York City are what's in an iPhone 5. That's how far information is.
That's the actual clock there. That's pretty cool. First handheld and t-shirt pocket electronics calculator.
Here is the Selectron. It's your earlier form of memory storage. It holds 32 bytes, so barely anything at all.
1922 office. Yeah, that's what we used to have in school, the slide rule. And computers were people. The original computers were people. What do we have here? More stuff. (1890) refractor telescope. Pigeon photography. Early airplane photography. First handheld GPS device. What the hell is this? Photography from outer space. Pretty cool. Earth from space, remote sensing. New York City. Cairo. Earth at night. San Francisco. Deforestation. That's so horrible. Mount Kenya. Mountains of the dry valleys. Well, this was quite exciting for me. I don't know if, let's see, well, we got another room here now. It just keeps getting better. That's a Spaceship Saturn. First stage, second stage, third stage. Wow. 8 steps to the moon and back. That's how you travel the moon, I guess.
But an ant has 250 those
check with the bees.
There's the alphabet in binary form.
That's a carp.
M for my first letter. 01001 M01. That's pretty cool. Wow. DNA. Perception in neural computers. Museum honorees. Human motor neuron model. How neurons become brains. Cracking the mathematics of neurons. World's first neural computer. 1988.
No wonder they didn't make it, huh? Right.
Huh. You could always pause this if you want to read the whole thing, guys. Intel E10 chip 1991. Quantum, that's what I love, quantum. Quantum mechanics.
So these crystals, which we've studied widely,
Quantum computing, essentially harnessing and exploiting the amazing laws of quantum mechanics to process information. A traditional computer uses long strings of bits, which encode either a 0 or a 1. A quantum computer, on the other hand, uses quantum bits, or qubits. What's the difference? Well, a qubit is a quantum system that encodes the 0 and the 1 into two distinguishable quantum states, but because qubits behave quantumly, we can capitalize on the phenomena of superposition and entanglement. I work with quantum physicists, so I know a little bit about that. So you should pause that and read it. Pause that and read it. It's good stuff. Pause this and read it. It's an educational tour. See, my show is always about educating, enlightening, inspiring, motivating.
quantum computers as we know them these days are cryogenic, so that's not an issue. When the photons are re-emitted on demand from the storage in these crystals, they enter a beam splitter over here, and the ambiguity in how they exit the beam splitter is measured by these detectors and provides a process for entangling the photons. As described
It's above most people's pay grade in quantum entanglement. Is that David? The human brain, 100 billion neurons with 100 trillion synapses. Wow. We haven't come close with all this stuff to how important the brain is. And there's my guy, Tyrannosaurus Rex. We see him again. Saw him earlier today. That's his brain. Wow. And his tooth. And his claw and a tooth. Actual ant brain.
one on the chain.
Oh, the Enigma machine. That was great.
Yeah.
Back into the Enigma.
There's a movie on that, right?
Hmm?
There was a movie made on that.
Yeah, I remember they were trying to break the code.
Yeah. And people were called computers back then. Oh, that's the Enigma right there.
Yeah, it's the real shit.
Wow.
You must first consult the code book and look at the columns that tell us in which plug to put into the numbered sockets on the front panel. The plug board has
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that they had even figured this out back. Yeah, technology's moving so fast, it's crazy.
It's crazy. It's just, and we're just haven't scratched the surface of
Yeah.
technology yet.
Did you see that 10-foot long of transistors?
Yeah.
And what it can
Yeah.
go to?
I know.
Take
I know.
1,000 of them compared to iPhone 5.
Well, what I didn't tell this lady, and I'm going to on the way out, is one of my interviews on my channel. The guy's inventing and working at MIT to develop an atomic-sized computer. He's teaching atoms to have a memory. That's his job. I interviewed him. Yeah. They're going to have an atomic-sized computer. You can't see it.
How does that happen?
How does any of this happen?
How do you work on something like that? I mean, it's
Very powerful
like-
microscopes.
it's
Atomic.
It's even hard to figure out how you could take 100,000 of those 10-foot things and get them in there.
But, well, that's the same thing. It's the next leap forward. It's mind-boggling. Well, atomic size is the
You're at
next.
MIT?
Huh?
You work at MIT?
No. I'm just a motivational speaker traveling around the country. I interview a lot of people. A lot of fantastic people. The Enigma.
That's fascinating.
To go on and light up a letter on the light bulb panel.
Amazing.
Second Enigma
Artificial intelligence. That's gonna. They have laws now to limit it because it's gonna get carried away and it's gonna take over. The imitation game. That was the one with the Enigma. I guess they're talking in this room. They're talking about the Desh bomb, which is a giant computer, I guess. Cryptology, a whole science in there. Well, that was the museum, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. And like I say, you can go back and pause if you really want to read the signs. 1960s. And I was telling the gentleman earlier, I've interviewed a guy that's making an atomic-size computer. He's teaching atoms how to have a memory. And that's going to change everything because it gets smaller, faster, bigger. I mean, smaller, faster, cheaper is what I meant to say. Original circuit board from the Minuteman I missile navigation computer. Look at that thing, guys. That's the computer, navigation computer for the Minuteman I missile. Wow. That is amazing. And that's the tour, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. This is really amazing. 480 BC. 300 BC. 1800 BC and 800 AD. Original medieval Bible leaf, guys. And this is the amazing thing right here. Original Babylonian brick. You can read all about it. 4,000 years of tablets. It's a celestial clock, I guess. Antikythera mechanism, the world's oldest computer, 80 BC. Just to tell you, there was a lot of things going on in the past. And there's the slide rule. Well, they had that as the computing device when I was in school. That shows you how old I am. Well, I hope you enjoyed that tour of the American Robotics, what is it called? Yeah, American Computer and Robotics Museum. Really fascinating. Slow it down, put it on pause. You can read a lot of the signage. It was fantastic. It really was an exciting trip and well worth going. If you're in Bozeman, however you say it, Montana, stop in here or just watch this a couple times. It saved you the time and the money. And that's what I'm doing on this tour. I'm saving you time and money and effort while you're supposedly secluded in your home or quarantined. And I'm happy to risk my life to bring you entertainment, knowledge, motivation, inspiration, and a good time. Hope you enjoyed it and have a fantastic day. Subscribe, like, share. This is what it's all about. We need to make the world a better place, and that's by subscribing. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Overpopulated cities around the world have caused people to become a greedy, selfish, and litigious society. Would you like to be happier, live longer, never be forgotten, and help make the world a kinder, more civil place? It's actually easier than you think. Every day you're asked, how are you? Instead of saying good, say, I am fantastic. It will make you look better, feel great, and reduce your stress. Making the world a better place starts with each person. Please join the Be Fantastic movement today. What you want to be, you can be. Be fantastic. Dr. Fantastic.